Okay, let's prepare ourselves. Ask yourself this. We're on our way to winning a Nobel Prize, or at least being mentioned. First time a talk show has made it that far. So maybe we can at least get mentioned. I don't know what the payout is, $1 million or something like that. But Brandon's going to go to Oslo and pick it up for us. Question, why is Amazon? Just walk yourself through all this stuff. Answer out loud, scream it out loud. Any one of those things. I don't care. Why is Amazon one of the most innovative and successful disruptors? That's a term I'll use. I think it's reasonable. Why are they one of the most successful disruptors of your lifetime? Why does it work? You shop there constantly, probably. Why does it work? So we'll do our own Nobel Prize winning study here. I think the answer, I know the answer, but I'm not going to get in the way of it. The answer is given to us every single day. And I'm pretty sure it's been given to us every day for years, actually decades and decades. We've been given the answer over and over again. But let's just walk through it in real time. And I don't know, I'm just kind of curious what people say. I'm not going to talk about the political side of the heavy taxes on imports the current president has levied because it's pointless. I know it is. I've learned this lesson many, many times over. And that lesson is the vast majority, I don't care if it hurts your feelings, I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. The vast majority of voters do not vote on economic policy. In fairness to voters, not much economic policy is even floated. It's not mentioned much. It's not debated much. That's if it's even offered. The vast majority of voters don't vote on economic policy. If you're one of the people that says you and other voters vote on economic policy, the evidence seems to say counter to that. But if you want anybody wants a 30-second tutorial on what tariffs are and how it works, it's all very easy. It's an easy search away. And I went through this years ago. The first time this happened with Donald Trump. And the responses didn't make any sense. They were nonsensical. They weren't just stupid. They were nonsensical responses. People just didn't understand what was going on. So if you really want to know, it's just a search away. It's not that difficult. And don't go search your favorite talk show host. Actually pull up some data. It'll take you about 26 seconds, and then you know exactly what's going on. So that aside, you do know this, okay? And you can prepare this, and there's plenty of history to back this up. The political and economic fallout of huge tariffs levied, taxes, these are all well documented. This is not a brand new thing. Now, you can maybe say the language Trump uses is over the top and brand new, but the concept itself is not new at all. I mean, surely enough people have taken fundamental economics classes and you've studied some of this stuff. And so you do know what's coming next. It's already happened today. I haven't even looked at the market, but it's probably an easy bet that this is COVID-like numbers. But here's what's going to happen. This is exactly what has happened historically when typically presidential candidates do this stuff. They float this idea, but there have been times Barack Obama did it with tires. George W. Bush did it with some kind of fruit. I can't remember. It's very short-lived. It's usually a political maneuver to try to win over voters in certain places. And then the fallout goes exactly like this. This has been true historically, and it's going to happen again. So you can prepare yourself for a bloody nose if you're a red state voter. Okay, red states, if the president is red or blue states, those that are foreign countries, trading partners, former trading partners, will then turn around and make sure they inflict the most financial pain on the states that matter most to that sitting president. It's a common exercise. It's happened countless times, and you can count on that happening now. So red states are going to be, trading partners are familiar enough with voting in this country. They know exactly what matters. They know exactly what our system is, and they know exactly how to inflict the most pain. So those red states are going to feel it the most. That's intentional. It's historical. what the current president says about tariffs and how they work and how they will work is just not true. Okay, the language used is just incorrect. At best, it's incorrect. Really, it's kind of a lie. The chart that he showed yesterday was pretty much nonsensical and just a bunch of numbers that made no sense whatsoever. Okay. Now that said, and I don't think this is talked about enough, and then we're going to get to our Nobel Prize quiz in just a second. There have been segments historically that have been and still are in favor of tariffs. There are. I mean, this is not necessarily a new discussion. And then those groups are, and still to this day, I assume, the United Auto Workers Union loves the idea of tariffs. Always has. Big union will like big government. Absolutely. Protectionism is exactly what these unions, typically the Auto Workers Union, most of all. At various times, Bernie Sanders has been a proponent of various forms of tariffs. I bet you Joe Biden at some point in his union-backed career probably agreed with the concept as well. How long ago? I don't know. So I'm not dismissing the idea that there are people that are in favor of protectionist economic policies. They've been around for a long time. Okay, but forget the truths, right? Forget the facts, forget the reality, forget that stuff for a second. Let's remove the political names. Let's remove the political letters because that's all people care about. I don't believe you're about policy. I don't believe you. Don't. Sorry. I've been yelled at enough. Nothing is about policy. Very little is about policy. But we're going to remove the letters. Let's see how you respond as a consumer. Just say it out loud to yourself. You're staring at a wall of televisions. Not in your own house. You're staring at a wall of television sets, I guess rows or whatever, however they're displayed at Best Buy. Let's put you in Best Buy. And so one row is a series of 54-inch televisions. Is that right, Brandon? Is 54 the right number? TV. Or is it 64? Whatever. It's not the biggest. It's the next one down. Okay? 54-inch televisions, screens. The description of the televisions are very similar, right? I mean, you've seen stuff at Best Buy or Walmart or somewhere like that. You've seen that. And so on your right is a series of televisions that range in price from, let's say, $355 to $475. I could be off by a little bit, but let's just work with that number. Okay, so there you got this row of television screens you're staring at. Some priced at $355, some go up to $475. On the other row, not far away, they're all together, one section, is one brand, one particular brand, with a price of $580. $585 to be precise. Okay? And the price labeling on the, I'll make the name up. For the sake of conversation, I'll make the name up. And that name is Evans Electronics. And the Evans Electronics brand is listed at $585. And so it's obviously on the higher end of all the TVs that you're staring at Best Buy. And the label says, as you read closer, it says, all parts are made and assembled in the United States in Montgomery, Alabama. Okay, let's just say it says that. So you're thinking, well, Jeff, that's, I actually look at the reviews. I look at the product descriptions. I look at consumer reviews. Okay, let's play along that way too. And let's say that you did a consumer report. Chances are you probably went to Amazon and looked at the 5 stars, 3 stars, or whatever. But however you did your research on your phone in that moment, and you saw the reviews, and the reviews on 54-inch televisions had, I'll make this up, Vizio listed number 1. Okay? You did a few searches and Vizio kept coming out on top. Vizio, you look back at the wall, Vizio is listed at $475. Now you're going to ask, Jeff, where is the Evans brand listed on the Consumer Reports? Okay. Let's say the Evans Electronics is listed 4th in product reviews. Sake of conversation, Vizio is 1. Samsung is 2. TCL is 3. Evans Electronics, I like that name, is 4, and what is it? Hisense? Is that a brand? Yeah. Okay, I'll just make that one up too. Hisense is number 5. So what are you going to do? You've taken in a lot, man. It's not a cheap thing. You've taken in a lot of information, haven't you? What are you going to do? Question. Just a question. What do you think people do? If Best Buy sold 100 54-inch TVs this week, how many of those do you think would be the Evans brand? Of the 5 brands, where do you think Evans in a week of sales would rank at Best Buy? This tiny anecdotal man on the street kind of economic survey. Where would it finish? Would it finish 1? Would you say it'd finish 1? What do you think? The other part of the study, we'll just keep peeling it away. Let's say if the Evans brand sold more than Vizio, for sake of conversation, I don't think it would, and I'm pretty sure you don't think it would either. But let's say that it did. Let's say Evans, your manager at Best Buy, got a name tag and everything. Let's say Evans Electronics did sell more. It's priced more, but it sold more than Vizio. So fill in your blank with the answers now. Just fill in the blank with your answers. What would Vizio do? Now, I know you're going to say, well, this is just 100 TVs at a Best Buy in Round Rock or something, Jeff. But by and large, let's just say Evans, made in Montgomery, Alabama, started selling more than Vizio. Let's say Evans Electronics started selling more than Samsung. Let's say it sold more than TCL. Let's say it didn't finish 5th or 10th or whatever in sales. Let's say it finished 1st. What would the others do? What would the competitors to Evans Electronics, what would they do if Evans was selling more? Heck, for that matter, you did see the label. Could be a unique selling proposition. There's an old school term for it. You could be a unique selling proposition of Evans, and that is all parts made in Montgomery, Alabama. What would the others do if Evans was better at this than them? Last part, and I'm always curious about this. I mean, it exists to a degree, but not to this degree. What percentage of the public would approve of a law that required detailed listings? You know, I did that whole thing about Evans is made in Montgomery, Alabama, parts assembled in Montgomery, Alabama. Well, you do know, and I'm terrible at this stuff, but you do know the parts for a TV, just like parts to a car, come from all over, right? They're not just coming from one place. Those parts are coming from all over. The whole conversation about tariffs is completely impractical because we're talking about goods that have a variety of parts from a variety of places. But let's just say Evans did it differently. Evans did the whole thing in Montgomery, Alabama, or they did some in Montgomery, and they did some in Amarillo, and they did some in Des Moines, whatever. But what percentage of the public do you think would approve of a law requiring a detailed listing where every part, or maybe they put a number on it, 90% of the parts of the manufactured goods were made along with an additional label that states where the product was manufactured? I mean, by law, do you think the public would be in favor of a law that had a disclaimer, not just made in Bangladesh, not just made in Montgomery, Alabama, but it listed the screen was from Des Moines. The wiring is from Bangladesh. The law made it disclose all of these elements. What percentage of the public do you think would be in favor of that? What percentage of the public do you think would say that matters to them? What percentage, honestly? More than 50? Less than 10? Do you believe that more than 50% of the American public would approve of that law? Then they would say that makes us more informed. See, now we know more. I'm not just looking at a price or a ranking. Now I know all that stuff that matters so much to me. Let's say that law went in effect May 1st. I'm making this up, but I wouldn't be shocked if somebody if somebody in politics didn't scramble and try to come up with this, let's say that law went into effect May 1st. How many more Evans Electronics TVs would Best Buy sell in a week? Think they'd sell a lot more? They're, what did I say, 585, 580? Would they sell a lot more if you had all those descriptions down? Would you be more inclined to buy then? There you go. What form does that survey take, Brandon? Do we have to fill that in? Is it voice only?
Oh, you got to go in and fill it out.
Oh, we have to fill that out?
Yeah, you have to be there in person.
Do I have to get somebody in like a green shirt to come walking up to you and ask you all those questions?
Yep.
All right.
It's got to be as difficult as possible.
You're going to tell everyone turned their back on me just now when I was doing it, didn't you? I'm like one of those people at the hike and bike trail. Do you have a minute? Like while you're running. Do you have a minute? No, I'm running, man. Can I talk to you for just a minute? And then if you ever are nice enough or you make the mistake in stopping, it's 4 pages long. And then once you're there, you're stuck. Like you feel like a fool if you bail out. Let's pretend you didn't bail out on me. How do you think you answer all those? More importantly, how do you think other people finish up every question I just asked? How, bottom line, do you think most people are going to buy Evans Electronics TVs? Every description I just gave you. Do you think more people will buy the Evans televisions? Yes or no? And remember, if they do, what do you think? Without some government official fixing it for you, what do you think the competitors would then do? What would you do if you're in the TV business, if you were getting your ass kicked by Evans Electronics? What would you do? Would you need somebody, some government official, hammering away at you? Is that what you need? Is that what the market is about? Right on, Evans. Jeff, where can I get Evans Electronics TV? I'll sell you one. I'll cut you a deal. Back of my car. Brandon's got some other parts. We can do like a little, we can get it together. They got a cool, Evans has got a cool logo too. It's just a nose and a mustache. Evans Electronics.